Hello, welcome to this video. My name is Chef Marcel and this is part 2 of the farmer's market basket. First we did the salad, which you can see in the channel somewhere around here. And today I'm doing the Romanesco. Everybody's asking me, what is a Romanesco? Is it a cauliflower? Is it a broccoli? No, it's a Romanesco. It looks a little bit like a cauliflower and it's green like broccoli, but it's its own little thing. Now, it is a cruciferous, that's one of those difficult words, vegetables, and they call it a cruciferous vegetable because it has 4 leaves on the bottom shaped in a cross. That's really the main reason that it has that name. So it's a separate vegetable, so it is related to Brussels sprouts and cabbage, etc. But it's its own little thing, and it looks beautiful. It looks a little bit like an alien thing to some people. And I really enjoy it. It's really good for you, very healthy. And you can eat everything, the whole thing, just not the flowers, but the whole thing. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to blanch it. Because then it brings out the flavor a lot more if you are trying to do anything with it after. So you can roast it, you can grill it, you can saute it, or you can just eat it steamed. But I like to blanch it first because that gives the floret and also the stem, the trunk, a little bit more time to cook and brings out the flavor a little better. Now don't overcook it, then it becomes mushy and then it's not that good anymore. Okay, so I'm going to cut it first and then blanch it, and then I'm going to put it in a vegetarian pasta today. So and then after you cut it all, it looks like this. All the little florets ready to go into the pan of boiling water. So in here I have the trunk is all cut up into little pieces. And so those are actually really yummy to snack on. Don't throw them away. Cauliflower, same thing, really good for you. All right, so here's a pan of boiling water, nice and steamy. Here's a bowl. Let it go. Put the lid on and wait for the water to return to a boil, and then it goes into this ice cold water right here. Okay, so now the water's back to a boil. It's time to remove the Romanesco from the boiling water and put it in ice water. So, all the ingredients are chopped up. We have our Romanesco, some carrots, Italian parsley, some olives, calamata, some scallions, mushrooms, cremini mushrooms, tomatoes, garlic, and a little Fresno pepper and some sun-dried tomatoes over here. And we have our pan nice and hot, so we add the olive oil. There we go. And then the first thing, because we want to give it a little browning, is the Romanesco. Turn the hood on. It might make a little noise, but it gets rid of my steam. So just let that sit. Don't move the pan around too much. It looks really good on TV or on the camera. This is a little boring to just look at it. But as you're moving it around, you prevent it from coloring. You just give it some time. And so after this has some color, then I'm going to remove it from the pan and add the next ingredients. It's a little bit more of a Chinese way of cooking, that you're cooking each ingredient individually and then add them together later on. You can already smell it. Of course you can't, but I can. And you can start to see a little bit of color down there. So now I know that it's time to flip it over. I hope you don't get too dizzy by the movement of the pan. Okay, so see, here you have that color, that's what we're after, okay? So I'm going to do that with all the individual ingredients, and then eventually I'll put it all together in the pan. I'll be back in a second. So the nice thing about the Romanesco is that it already has a little bit of a nutty flavor. And you could add nuts to your ingredients, adding some walnuts or some almonds. Pecans if you like, but then you kind of take away the nutty flavor of the Romanesco itself, so I like to leave that alone. So the mushrooms in the pan, we also do those individually, just spread them out and then again leave them alone so they can develop some color. So the mushrooms start to smell. That also means that they get a little bit of color. There's my little mushroom right there. Oopsie. Always get my little spectator with me. There we go. It adds a nice little amount of color. And we add the Romanesco back in. Toss it and take it out of the pan. Add a little bit more oil. And then we're ready for the next ingredient. Chili, fresh no pepper, the scallions, all that cools the pan down, so we can add more and more ingredients. And the more ingredients we add, the colder the pan gets, and it makes it ready for the garlic. Sun-dried tomatoes. Cook this for a little bit. Okay, so now we take the mushrooms and the Romanesco back in the pan and toss it with all the other ingredients. Then we add our tomatoes. Now you can just eat this all by itself as a side vegetable already. And then we add our Italian parsley. And then add a little bit of sea salt. Some freshly ground pepper. And give it a toss. Well, now we can just turn the heat off and let that slowly cook through. If you have gas, you can just leave it on. By turning the heat off, we have electric, so remove the pan from the stove and just let the residual heat in the pan cook it for you. And now I'm going to cook the pasta. So pasta water is ready. Of course, in the pasta water is enough salt to make the water taste salty. No oil. You know, that's the old system that people used to put oil in their pasta water. You don't want to do that because it essentially makes your pasta waterproof, and if it's waterproof, then it can also not absorb all the flavor that's in your sauce. So no oil in your water. If you're doing that to prevent your pasta from sticking, well, that means that you cooked it too long. Your pasta is overcooked and then it starts sticking. You want to cook your pasta al dente, so it has a little bit of a bite. Now if you have a gluten intolerance, of course, then you cannot use any wheat pasta like we're doing here tonight. So what I like to do if I want to cook gluten-free, I use zucchini or squash noodles. But what I add to that is butternut squash noodles. And the reason I do that is because the butternut squash noodles give it that nice little bite. So it has that al dente flavor or feeling, even though there are no real noodles in it. All right, so the water is at the rolling boil. The noodles go in. Put the lid on for just about a minute to soften them up, and then we let them go to the prescribed time. These need about 12 minutes. All right, that was 12 minutes. So now the noodles are ready. Of course, you always need to make sure that they are ready, and the way you do that is by using your teeth. Take a little piece, put it in your mouth, and feel if it's al dente. You know what I'm saying? If you throw it against the wall and it sticks, it's ready. Actually, when it sticks, it's overcooked. So now we take our veggies, and then we take our noodles, and directly from the water, toss them in. No draining, no straining, no rinsing. You want that starch from the noodles to go into your sauce, whatever sauce that is. There we go. Now we remove that pan and move this one back in its place. And then all we do is just toss it and make sure that everything gets coated with flavor. That wooden spoon. I'm trying not to shake the camera too much. Normally I would toss it. To make sure everything gets coated in flavor. This is the moment where the noodles are absorbing whatever oil, whatever sauce is in that pan. You try to toss it without moving the camera too much. There we are. And dinner is ready. Now it's just plating time and dinner time. There we go. Time to plate dinner. Cooking for 3, as I usually do. Just carefully drag it along. There we are. Now the troops are hearing that dinner's ready. They're starting to converge. There we go. And then sometimes you have a little bit of that leftover flavor in the pan. So then what you do is you grab a ladle of your pasta water and you put that in the pan to kind of rinse it out. And then we can pour that over your noodles. There we go. Little fresh bread with it. And dinner is served. Enjoy. There she goes. A lot of health, a lot of deliciousness. Enjoy. Thanks for watching.